What is going on, guys? Taylor Stuber with LocksDFS.com, bringing my locks and sleepers for this Wednesday 12-game NBA slate. Finally, a reasonable amount of games to dive into. I feel like we've been having a lot of 4-game slates, which aren't the best for playing cash games. But I've recorded this video like 2 or 3 times just because every time I get into the middle of it, some major news drops. And as I'm saying this, Nikola Vucevic was just ruled out. So if you want to know my thoughts on that, be sure to follow me here on Twitter at Taylor Stuber. I usually, when injuries come out, I talk about who I think it affects the most in a DFS wise. So yeah, if you're trying to gain an edge and some quick analysis on the injuries, just follow me here. Link will be in the description. And as always, if you want to enter that giveaway for a free NBA pass with LocksDFS.com, all you have to do is subscribe, like the video, and comment below with your favorite play of the day. I'm not the biggest fan of Thibodeau for the Timberwolves, but he did rule out Teague a couple days early, and I thought DraftKings would adjust the prices better, and FanDuel, knowing that Teague was going to be out, but they really didn't. And so I pulled up NBA Wowie without Jimmy Butler and Jeff Teague on the court, and obviously, to no surprise, Derrick Rose and Karl Anthony Towns rise to the top. Derrick Rose actually leading the team with a large sample size of 355 minutes with a 31.1% usage rating, averaging about 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Obviously not the greatest game. The Pistons are a pretty middling defense, but their guard defense is pretty bad with Reggie Jackson and Langston Galloway playing, probably going to be the guys covering Derrick Rose. But the game is projected to be close, only a 5-point spread. Over-under is pretty middling at 218. Both teams are in the top half of pace, so that's a good thing. But the price is what I really like. I think the price is perfect for DraftKings at 6.7K because I think it's entirely too cheap, but I think the rest of the field is going to be scared off of that, paying that price for him. We saw last game, I believe he played 24 minutes and scored about 34, 35 fantasy points against the Kings. In that bizarre game where Jaeger benched all of his starters for the Kings and the game just obviously blew out. So yeah, I really like the price. And then over here, he's probably going to be the chalkiest player on the slate. I would imagine at 6.2K, it's hard not to like him. Like him a lot on both sides. Karl Anthony Towns, on the other hand, averaging, which I think 31%. I just saw it. 31% usage rating. Averaging 1.6 fantasy points per minute with Teague and Butler off the court, and I think he's just entirely underpriced. I think he's going to be kind of sneaky, I guess, just because everyone's going to go to Anthony Davis with Nikola Mirotic and Julius Randle out, going to have a large usage and going to have to play a lot of minutes to compete with the Bucks, but nonetheless. You get a huge discount, $1,900 by going down to Towns, and I think they have a similar floor and ceiling. Actually, a similar ceiling. Floor is kind of in the favor of Anthony Davis, but for $1,900, I'm willing to take the risk. Over here on DraftKings, it makes it a bit easier at 9.9K at center, as you can only play one center. I really like him over here on FanDuel. But it's really the other ones that I like a lot. Robert Covington and Andrew Wiggins, all are just like so close to averaging 1 fantasy point per minute. And the one thing I do like about Thibodeau is that it's pretty easy to see who's going to get the minutes. With Teague off the court, you would imagine that Rose, Karl Anthony Towns, Wiggins, and Covington are all going to play 34 plus minutes, and they're all like Covington and Wiggins almost have fantasy point per minute. Rose 1.16 fantasy points per minute, and then Karl Anthony Towns is at 1.6 fantasy points per minute. And their prices have dropped because everyone's been healthy, but now that Teague is out, it opens things up a ton. Wiggins is only 5.8K, and Robert Covington's 5.5K over here on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, they're super cheap too. Robert Covington, 5.8K, and then only 6K for Andrew Wiggins. I really like these prices. I want to get a lot of these Minnesota pieces against the Pistons. Like I said earlier, I recorded this, and then the middle of it, Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry were ruled out. It makes Greg Monroe probably the chalkiest player on the slate, and for good reason. I mean, in 83 minutes with Ibaka, Lowry, and Jonas Valanciunas off the court, he has a 25.1% usage rating. Now, my fear is that they don't want to play him big minutes. I bet that, but it's going to be more than he was playing. He's playing like 15 minutes right now. I bet he plays like 24 to 28 minutes, somewhere in that range. But I think that they were experimenting with playing Pascal Siakam at the 5 once Jonas Valanciunas went down, so they didn't have to play Greg Monroe the remaining minutes of the leftover minutes of Serge Ibaka. So I don't think Greg Monroe is going to get like a massive minute boost like I think the majority of people are going to think. But he's still a great play just because his price is so cheap. Obviously, it's a tough matchup against Indiana, but his price makes it really, really doable. If I can find him. Yeah, he's 3.8K. It's an amazing play on FanDuel where you can drop the price or drop the lowest score, and then he's 4.1K over here on DraftKings. Really like that a lot. And then Fred VanVleet obviously is going to be one of the best plays on the slate, and they have yet to raise his price. He was, it says questionable, but he was ruled eligible to play this game, so he is sitting at 4.9K over here on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, he is 5.2K. So on FanDuel, it's hard for me to imagine me not playing VanVleet and Derrick Rose today, but that's really the strategy I'm going with today. And obviously, I'm going to leave the rest for my members. I'm going to tweet out some of my favorite plays as this injury news comes through, like the Nikola Vucevic thing. And then, as always, I'm going to be in the members-only pre-lock live stream 30 minutes before the slate, helping you guys make your lineups and help you guys win some money. And as always, hope you guys do well tonight. And until next video, peace.